Alright guys, today we're doing a turbo on a 2015 Ford Fusion with the 1.5 EcoBoost. The wastegate was rattling, it wasn't building boost up. Pretty quick, simple job. If you did it at home, you were flying through it, probably took about two and a half hours, all said and done. I used a premium turbo. I'll put the link down in the description. It comes with everything you need. At the time of making this video, it was around 450 bucks. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I only show the important parts. I'm not showing the bullshit that you already know how to do or don't need to even see. So I hope the video helps you guys out, and subscribe if it does. Thank you. Okay guys, first step in the turbo replacement is to just pop this engine cover off, toss it to the side. And bear with me today, it's raining out, so I'm gonna do the best I can to record. Okay, first step here is to remove this charge pipe. I'm gonna use a flat blade screwdriver. Leave that there. I got one clamp here. Feels like it might be bolted on. Yep, we got a 10 millimeter here, down here by the intake tube. Got that removed. I don't know if you have to remove the whole thing, but I'm going to just make it easier to get in here and see. We got a clamp here at the blow-off valve. And now that I got that tube off, should be able to pull it up out of here, loosen this up a little bit more. There we go. Hopefully you can see there's a couple clips here for the wiring harness. My favorite way of doing it is just using a pair of dikes and just popping them up, getting underneath there and popping it up. Then I got one electrical connector there. I got one right here. Now that that's off, let me pop this PCV hose off here quick. There we go. Oh, I got one more electrical connector back here. There we go. Now that charge pipe's off, set that off to the side. Now I'm going to use a flat blade screwdriver and remove the air intake tube. This air intake's also held in with a couple 10 mils. Got that one off back there. Same thing, there's a couple of electrical wiring. I'm just gonna pull that off. There we go. I got that whole piece out of the way. Also have a 8 millimeter right down here. I'm assuming this is held on by a clamp down there. I'm gonna try, see if it'll come off anyway. No. So I'm going to look down in there and see what's holding that up. Okay, so like I said, it is raining. I'm trying to avoid getting down on the ground and getting wet. There is a flathead screw down here for the clamp that holds this on. I got it loosened already. It's super easy to get to. So hopefully I can get this all pulled out now. So route this around here so I don't bend or break anything. There we go, and that's the pipe running from the air filter down to the turbo. Okay, so right down here I took this off, that clamp. That's a 7mm or a flathead screwdriver if you can fit a stubby one down in there. Now, I should be able to pull that right off, set that off to the side. And now we have a pretty good view of the turbo down there. This job calls for 4.5 hours of labor. And so far, knock on wood, it's going pretty good. So I'm going to get some penetrating oil and spray on these bolts. I know it tells you to remove the catalytic converter. I do not think I'm going to have to do that, but just in case, I'm going to spray penetrating oil on those bolts also. And I'm going to keep on cranking until I get too cold. It's 55 degrees and raining. The only reason I'm out here now is because the woman kind of being crabby. So yeah, if I don't finish it tonight, I will finish it tomorrow morning when it's a little bit drier. Okay guys, so I got my drain pan down there. I'm working on taking off these coolant lines right here. I don't know if it's a Torx or a hex. I use the T27. Little trick is hex or Torx bits work a lot for hex bits, and I bought this big master set off Amazon. So it's pretty much got everything in, and I have it right here. See if I can't get that out without that falling. Not going to be able to one-handed. Okay, so that hard line I just unbolted was a T27 Torx, not an Allen head. And it runs up along the driver's side of the motor, right here. First thing I'm going to do is pop that out. So now that I got that out of the way, you can barely see there's a 12 or 13 millimeter bolt right there. And I'm going to go ahead and move that bolt out. And then hopefully, where's it at? I lost it. Fuck. Right there. Hopefully, once I get that bolt out, I can move that line away enough that we can get that off the turbo. Okay, so I got that one stay bracket bolt out. It was a 10 millimeter. So now I'm going to go over here to this side. I'm going to grab these two lines here, and they should twist moving. I might have to get under, can't really see it, I might have to get under this flange with a flat blade, kind of pop it out a little bit. Okay, so it was only one T27 that held them in. They take a lot of effort to pry out. What I kind of did was I wiggled. I put my screwdriver here as like a pry bar up against the turbo, and I wiggled as I pulled to get them to both pop out. There were the coolant lines. A little bit came out, not a whole lot, but I'm glad I had the drain pan in there. It is starting to rain pretty hard. I might continue to try to get some of these off. I might try to get those turbo bolts out where it bolts to the exhaust manifold flange. But I don't know how much more I'm going to do tonight. Guys, I'm underneath the car. The first thing I'm going to do, now I'm going to need two hands to do most of this. But I got a T30 to take off there for the oil drain. I got a T30 to take off there for the oil drain, actually two T30s. And then I only have one right there, one 10mm bolt left out of 3 to take off for the exhaust. And then I think I'll be ready to pull this turbo out. Okay, so down here, it doesn't look like it, but I took the oil feed line off. That's a soft line, so it's not a hard line the whole way, so I probably am not going to have to unbolt it off the engine. And then I took the vacuum hose off the wastegate there, so I should be ready to pull this out. I'm going to see if it'll come out from up top, and if it doesn't, I'll be doing it from the bottom. Okay guys, what I ended up doing is I took those 4 studs out that were right here. There wasn't enough room, because it does tell you to remove the cat, but if you take those 4 studs out, there's plenty of room to get the turbo out. These are an E-Torx. I don't know what size they are. 9 times out of 10, you can use a regular socket on them. These came right out. There was no nothing. They just came right out. They weren't even snug. So I probably could have thrown them out with my fingers if I tried. But yeah, turbo slipped right on out. So that's a good thing. And here's the one big problem with these turbos. You could hear this rattling when the car was running. But this wastegate it just gets loose like this. It won't seal anymore, and it won't build boost. I mean, the other issue is it was leaking oil too, but the main concern is that it just wasn't building any boost anymore. All right guys, so what I did was I took that big metal O-ring off, just used a flat blade screwdriver, popped it off the exhaust. I'm gonna put a new one on. I got that all cleaned up. For the coolant lines, I'm gonna wipe them off one more time before I put them in. You want to keep dirt off those O-rings, or there's a good chance it'll leak. And I'll probably pop a stud or 2 in the manifold here to hold the turbo gasket in place while I fish the turbo in. Now the easiest way, I think, is I put 1 stud in there temporarily just to hold the turbo. I got 2 of the bolts put in for the exhaust. I pulled the stud back out there, and now I'm gonna lower the gasket down in place and put the other 4 studs in and tighten them down. That was the easiest way I could find without actually removing the whole catalytic converter. There's not quite enough. I mean, maybe if I put a big pry bar in there, there'd be enough room to pop it over to slide the turbo in with the studs in place. But this was much quicker doing it this way, in my opinion. All right guys, I'm back under the car. I am getting ready to put a new gasket right there for the oil drain. I'm gonna put this one 10mm bolt back in. I already got all 4 of the bolts up top put in. I'm gonna clean these coolant lines off a little better, plug them back in. And like I said, I'm doing this one-handed, so yeah, it's a little difficult to record and actually do the work, so I'm just trying to show you the important tips. All right guys, I got the coolant lines put back on. Simple. Had to twist the lines a little bit to get them pop in, but it was easy. All the bolts are in for the turbo to exhaust flange. So far, everything's super simple. I got the one hidden 10mm bolt down in there, back in to help hold these hard lines back in. And now I'm going to go ahead and start assembling the rest of it. All right, so now I'm putting the tube back in here. So I'm going to loosely fit that in place for now. And now I'm going to put the PCV intake on right here. That's this one clamp. Pops right on. Now I'm going to go around and push this pipe back on the turbo here. And I'm just kind of loosely putting this together. I'm going to go ahead and tighten everything up here in a bit. There, I got the air filter tube put back on. Once that's on, I'm going to pop the purge valve back on. I'm going to go ahead and get this all tightened up before I put any of the other stuff back together. All right, I got all this tightened down. Now I'm going to sneak the charge pipe, whatever you want to call it, back in here. I'm not big on terminology, guys. I don't give a fuck what it's called. It's a pipe and air goes through it. That's all I care about. I got that wiggled in. I just realized that my hose clamp is missing off that one tube. Oh, got it. Pop this on. I probably shouldn't have put this back on a while. Pop that off. I'm sure it'll make it a million times easier to get this back in. There we go. Make sure that these are pushed on the whole way. You don't want the embarrassing fact of a pipe popping off going down the road on a fucking test drive. Okay, that's on. I got the part for the blow-off valve hooked up. Now I can put this back on. All right, now that that's on, I can go ahead and tighten everything up, which I will probably do off camera. Hook up all the wiring here. All right, guys, I got everything tightened up. I got the turbo in. Everything is bolted back up. It's ready to start. I already checked the oil and the coolant. I'm going to back it off the ramps and check everything again when it's level. But let's see if this girl fires up. Fired right up. No massive oil leak. Hopefully no oil leak. All said and done, this job is super easy. Anyone can do it. If you're scared to do it, just go ahead and do it. It's fine. Oh, there's heat up. I will post a link down in the description of all the parts that I use. If you purchase them off Amazon, it helps support the channel a little bit. The time of making the video, the turbo was around $450, and I'm going to leave this burn off and take it for a test drive. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Thanks.